I knew that being in a room, clocking at hours is not what I want to do. I want to be working with people and helping people. My wife was a sixth grade teacher over at Avon Heritage North up the road here, and it was a risk. The great part was we had her steady income being a teacher, but I went from making a substantial income down to making next to nothing. Part of the love of doing what we do, especially being in the independent world, is the living and dying by your own sword. It's taking life on, it's not being afraid of things. There's a direct correlation between work ethic and success. We've all heard that, but having the commitment to follow through is very different. It seems like that drive's either in you or not in you, and I guess it's always been in me. My job gives me purpose and meaning, and that's not to say that my family doesn't. I love my family, but they're all kind of intertwined. When you can sit down with a person and you can get deep and personal, intimate with them, and they can tell you their biggest fears and worries and struggles in life, and you can say, well, look, here's what we can do to fix that. It's how you show people you care. I'm reminded of a conversation I had with a client. He got teary-eyed, and this is a very hard-nosed person. He got very teary-eyed, and he said, Clint, my life is what it is because of you. And it makes you break down. You feel like you made an impact. You made a person's life better. Life is very short. There's that saying, I'm as old as I ever was, but at the same time, I'm also as young as I'm ever going to be. At the end of the day, when it's all said and done, I want my legacy to be that people would say at my funeral, my life is better because I had Clint in my life. It's amazing the impact. And these people will have a tremendous life because you made an impact when they needed that impact. We bought an older house. We bought a historic home here in Avon. It had charm and character. Most people who have come on board have said, you know what, I don't know what it is. I just feel very comfortable here. And I think part of that is how we do things. But part of it's also not just the culture, but the environment that we're in. The history means something. It feels like you're a part of something bigger.
And that is the presentation. Thank you for coming. Enjoy the coffee. Now, thank you all for coming today. I appreciate it. I figured we would play that video, gives you a little bit of a background about what we do, how we do it, and why we do what we do. So jumping right in, you have an outline at your desk, but I was asked to speak on sharing an important area of entrepreneurship where I have personal knowledge and experience. So, you know, for me, I think in business, there's a simple equation in business to being successful. You know, there's X plus Y equals Z, but if you take out the widget, you put a different widget in there, A plus Y equals Z, B plus Y equals Z, C plus Y equals Z. And it's the same equation in any business in order to be successful. So, you know, it's really a great thing. My focal point today will be on keys to running your own business, and then how we differentiate ourselves, and that'll probably give you some examples of ways you can do the same thing for your own businesses as you get out there and make it happen. So, 7 key items for success. 7 key items, blazing sevens. Point number 1, customer service. So, you know, we always say we are in the customer service business. We just happen to invest people's money, do their taxes, and their estate planning work. But customer service is overwhelmingly number 1. So 4 key mindsets with that. You know, the first one is understanding that enthusiasm is contagious. So, you know, so I always say, like, when you're talking to a client, if you want a client to be here, you've got to be here. You've got to be up there to bring their level of excitement up. We probably talk about the most unexciting topics in the world, you know, death and taxes, right? So, you know, who wants to talk about saving for retirement on a Friday night? You know, you should really put more money away instead of going out. That's exciting, right? Who wants to talk about tax return or doing a will? Those are not exciting topics whatsoever. But so I think it's vital that you bring that excitement level up and you show people how important it is, how vital it is to get this stuff going, you know. The second point out of the 4, you know, I'm taking this one from my brother-in-law. So Joe Flynn, he has a tire business, Morley in Pennsylvania. kind of similar to Conrad's in a sense that it's, pretty large tire business. They have about 27, 28 stores. But they have a huge banner up in their call center that says, "I can definitely help you with that. I can definitely help you with that." A real big banner. It's pretty awesome. So when all the calls are coming in, when a person says, "Hey, can I get these tires or those tires," or whatever they may be, it's not, "Yeah, we could probably do that." No, "I can definitely help you with that." Bring that energy and excitement to show how excited you are to help them. Third point, knowing that happiness is a choice. Choose to be happy. So we're independent on the investment front. We can invest really with any company across the board. But American Funds is one of the companies that we like a lot, not just because of their performance, but also because of their customer service. And so I went out for a due diligence trip probably 10 years ago, roughly now, over in LA. And I went rogue on the tour and to get the real story. And I talked to some person who was working at a desk, and I said, "Hey, so tell me what it's really like here at American Funds. What really goes on here?" And the person laughed, and she said, "It's really great. When I was hired, they gave me a mirror, and it said on the mirror, 'Can you see my smile?' And so when people were brought in, or people called in, you can tell there's a very big difference when you call that firm compared to other places." And I said, there is a difference when you call in, and so that made me smile, and I thought about that. So when I got home, just to try to prove that point, right, I called in, and I talked to a random person. It sounded like she was, down in southern Georgia or something. I don't know, like a real friendly person. I said, "Hey, would you mind?" Or I said, "Do you have a mirror in front of you?" And she said, "Well, I do now." She literally got a mirror out, and that proves my point. And I said, and I explained the whole point in the story about how that, "Can you see my smile?" And she laughed, and she said, "No." She said she didn't get a mirror when she was hired, but some of her colleagues did. So something they must have been doing before, but not in her class. But the point I'm making is that she didn't get a mirror, but who in their right mind wouldn't question a person and they just get a mirror out? They're going to play along with my question, That, reiterates the point about you can see that smile, right? And that's got customer service means a big deal, The fourth point, sincerity and patience. So, there's that saying everybody knows, people don't care how much you know until they know how much you care, right? So you can tell there are so many people that are out there in the world today doing different things. So many people, right? So, showing that you care, having that sincerity, understanding that what they have going on in their life is a big deal. And that's important to us, right? So that's a vital point. So those are the key mindsets. Customer service, number 1 of the 7. Got to have it. It's our focal point. So again, I always say we're in the customer service business. We just happen to invest people's money, do their taxes, and estate planning work. Point number 2, an entrepreneur must be the visionary of the company, setting the tone and pace. You're a leader, So 3 points with that. 1, don't overextend yourself. Do not overextend yourself. So Warren Buffett has a quote. Everybody knows who Warren Buffett is? Great. So, Warren Buffett said, one of his quotes is that, it isn't until the tide rolls out that you can tell who is swimming naked. And that just makes me laugh hearing that. I guess when you get older, you can say whatever you want. But what he was referring to in that comment is that everybody's having a great time when the market's rallying. Everybody's having fun. Tech stocks this year are amazing. They've been doing incredible, right? Everybody's having a great time. So they just say, let me get into this aggressively growing sector, whatever it may be. But what happens when that sector pulls back? Back in 2001 and 2, when the market took a big crash, people lost everything, or most of everything, for many people. They didn't realize what they were even buying. They didn't have any actual numbers, in a large part, to back up what they were doing. So where Warren Buffett was talking about overexposure with the market, not understanding what you're actually in, I'm relating this in to talk more about business in general. So there's that saying, a little bit of knowledge can be a dangerous thing. Don't overextend yourself. Don't get into areas you're not comfortable with. Team up with or bring in other people who are specialists in different areas. So the second point, lead by example. If you want someone to work hard, you should be working hard. So I always say, as a business leader, as the owner or person driving the company, what time do you show up in the morning? What time do you leave at the end of the day? How hard do you work during the day? If you want people to work hard, if you want your team to work hard, you should be working hard. Lead by example. Actions speak louder than words. Point 3, show your staff you care. Show people you care, right? Don't make it artificial. Really show them you care. So everybody thinks showing your staff you care is going to be a bad thing because that usually involves money, right? Zig Ziglar. Does everybody know who Zig Ziglar is? Yeah, everybody loves Zig Ziglar, great. One of his quotes he's made before is, what's the cost or what's the cost, right? What's the cost of giving benefits and matches and other things that you can do for employees or investing into them, or what's the cost of not doing that? So in our view, it's vital to show your team you care, and that will replicate out in your service model. So do you have a retirement plan? I always say when you walk into your business every day and you see, for me it's Karen and Rachel and Doug and Jessica and Tyler and Maria and everybody there at the office. Now, when you're walking in the office and you see your whole team and you say, hey everybody, how you doing? It shouldn't just be the person who makes the coffee, greets people at the front door, who processes paperwork. These are people, you probably spend more awake hours with your coworkers than you do anybody in the home front. You should care about these people, right? So you want to know that when people are working for you, when they get into retirement one day, they're going to have a good life. And how do you do that? By showing the commitment to them. So, for us, we have a great 401k plan where we give a 3% non-elective deferral. We put money in their account whether they contribute or not. And we have a profit sharing plan. So basically, to whatever extent we grow by for the year, with a company, we put a profit sharing percentage up to 25% into their retirement account as well. So I always say, I want you to work hard. I want you to care about the clients. I want you to care about the company, and we're going to care about you as well. So show you care. Do you offer health insurance? Health insurance is incredibly expensive, right? You get what laughs out there. It's crazy how expensive it is. But it's also important to show that you care. It's an opportunity to show you care. Pay for educational training. So, the actual center here, Lorain County Community College, it's amazing the resources that are here, for the college to help you in your business. Amazing. I was just out front, and they have a whole breakdown on Excel training and QuickBooks training and different things at very, very nominal, reasonable prices to help you invest into your staff. So it's, the cost is so small to show you care and invest in your company. And then finally, an annual employee meeting. So, it's been said that communication is the key to every relationship, not just at home, with your loved ones, but also at the office. So we have an annual sit down where no distractions. We'll typically go to a Starbucks. People who know me, I'm obsessed with coffee. Dunkin' Donuts is also great. Plug in there for them. Thank you, Dunkin' Donuts. But we'll have an annual sit down where we go through everything. There's a whole 10-point sheet. They get it a couple nights before. They fill it out. It's private. It's confidential. We go through it. And it says, how do you feel about your pay? How do you feel about your workload? Where do you see yourself 3, 5, and 10 years from now? What do you want to learn more about? What do you like the most about what you like to do? What do you not like about what you do? And we talk about it. And that helps us to make sure things are on track. No one likes surprises. Either way is what helps. And then we go through things that are doing great, things we need to work on and improve, and we invest into our team. So point number 2, be the visionary again. Set the tone and the pace for the company. Point number 3 now, hire to fill in gaps, making your weaknesses the company's strengths. So thank you to the Lorain County Community College with their amazing tech setup. I would not be able to do that without their help because I am not very tech savvy, but thankfully they are. So that is an area where we bring on people who are much more knowledgeable than we are from a website standpoint, Facebook, LinkedIn, all those pages, hire people on or hire people outside your firm to work in areas that you're not as good with. Point number 4, spend time on the right activities. So what I always do is when I start my day every day, I'm always the first one there in the morning. I get a Post-it note. Whoever invented that was pretty brilliant, right? Let's make a sticky piece of paper and we'll make billions of dollars. Love it. But anyway, I get a Post-it note and I put down on there my top 5 things that I need to get done today. It's so incredibly, repetitious to where you start your day and you get 17 phone calls, 14 emails, people asking you about things, something happened outside you need to look at, and all of a sudden you're like, how did my day get through where the day is already over and I didn't get what I need to get done for the day. So efficiency is doing things right, while effectiveness is doing the right things. So effectiveness is doing the right things. People will say oftentimes, well, I was very busy today. Yeah, but were you doing the right things? The right things. So if you have a Post-it note and you lead by example, you have a Post-it note, you put your top 5 things that need to get done today, you're more likely to be to stick to that and cross them off as you go along. And then again, I mentioned before, but do what you do best and outsource the rest. We don't even do our own payroll. We pay to have our payroll done, and we're a tax firm as well as a financial firm. But for the time involved in handling it, it's easier and more cost-effective to farm it out and have somebody else do it. Point number 5, don't overreact. Wow, being a good business leader is about being a leader, right? Having that patience. So in life, like in boating, you can't control the wind, but you can adjust your sail. I always say I'm a no-drama mama. I'm not technically a mama, but the point, and I don't have any drama. I don't like any drama. So people make mistakes. Be a good leader. Be a good visionary. If you lecture your team, if you scold your team, especially in front of others, is that going to help or hurt the future? It's going to hurt. Pull them aside. Say, explain to me what happened, how it happened, how can we make it better, right? And work upon improving it, right? Be a good leader. No drama. Point number 6 of the 7 points, provide apples instead of oranges. So Henry Ford is well known as saying, if I had asked people what they would have wanted, they would have said a faster horse. It's kind of funny, So you want to be innovative. You want to be on the cutting edge. Bowling Green was a great school, and when I was a student body president and very involved there, they sent me to a leadership camp called Leadership. I'm not sure if it's even around today, but down in Champaign, Illinois, it was a week-long camp, and they had a person come and speak who had their life completely fall apart. They were making a great income. When you're in college, anything is a great income, But so they were making a great income, and the traditional white picket fence, dog named Toto, country club membership, 2.5 kids, whatever, the whole, stereotypical, kind of a lineup. But it turned out they were overextending themselves. They had a mortgage that was maxed. They couldn't really afford the country club they were involved in. They were living to the nickel of what they were making in income, and all of a sudden the job sector changed. They didn't see it coming. They lost their high-income job. They had to seek out and look for another job. They didn't have the right emergency fund. They ended up losing everything. Then they turned to alcohol and other dependency, drugs and things to try to cope. They were working 3 times the hours to make 1/4 as much in income, and they fell apart. Got divorced, moved out on their own, and so they brought this speaker in to talk to the different, student government, president and vice presidents across the country down in Champaign, Illinois. And I'll never forget, I'm sitting here at the time as a 19 or 20-year-old, kid, and this person's crying in front of me, and it made an impact. And I thought to myself, wow, they didn't see the next wave coming. So from a learning point, 1, don't live beyond your means. Live beneath your means and be happy. But number 2, always be looking for the wave of tomorrow that's coming, right? Always be looking for that next wave. So, it's not the strongest or most intelligent who will survive, but those who can manage change. Understand that what clients are always thinking, but they're always thinking, whether they say it or not, is why you? Why would I go to you versus somebody else? So your ability to answer that question is what will determine whether or not you were actually successful in life and in business. So what we do, we offer a three-tiered approach. So we have a tax firm, the law firm, and the financial firm. So when people come in and sit down with us, they have a person who has credentials across the board to help people plan. And then we do so with similar or lower costs than competitors across the industry. So we're providing value and we're providing convenience. And then for people who come in who need help in areas that we don't specialize in, then we bring somebody else in. We send it over them, they do a great job with it. So, so convenience. So how many of you have been to Radio Shack recently? Do not put your hand up, because you were not telling the truth. They're going under. So Radio Shack, right? Why would you go to Radio Shack to get a battery, right? When you can go to Costco and get your battery, your milk, your bread, flat screen TV, maybe a kitchen set, I don't know, something else. But convenience. People want to go to one place at one time to get things done. A Blockbuster, right? I can remember as a kid growing up, we'd go to, Friday night was great because Dad would come home after work, pick us up, and whoever got to go, we'd go to Blockbuster and pick out some videos, right? Some VHS, videos. And we would go to the ice cream shop right next door. We'd get ice cream, maybe a pizza. Who's with me, right? And Blockbuster Video, yeah. Now, how do you compete with Netflix? Well, obviously, Blockbuster went under, but Netflix, convenience. You're sitting there on your couch, it's all right there for you, it's convenience. And it actually costs less as well. So the point we're making is that, and the point I'm making here is that, it's the same equation. X plus Y equals Z, A plus Y equals Z, B plus Y equals Z. You want to be able to be proactive, adapt to what's coming in the future, and provide convenience, accessibility, ease of business, customer service, to show people you care. Otherwise, you end up being a Radio Shack or a Blockbuster. No offense to them. So, I always say in terms of people setting business in, probably 95% of all of our clients are all from referrals, which is great. People are blessed in that sense. But people don't refer you business for doing your job. You should do your job. People refer you business because you go above and beyond, out of your way to show you care, to do things to make their life more convenient, to be proactive in planning for people. There's a saying, cost is only a factor in the absence of value. Show that value. So, kind of with that, what we do, so everybody has this little brochure that we put at your tables. So on here, I was coming back from a trip, I think it was in California, an educational trip, and I went through and had that whole deep thoughts. Everybody on the plane, those long trips, they're always asleep. I make a good relationship with the flight attendants. They keep on bringing me coffee. And I came up with, I think it was 13 or 14, I think it was 13 top 10 core beliefs from a planning perspective. And nobody wants 13, they want 10. So the 3 got nixed. And I can't even remember for the life of me today what the other 3 were, but they're probably something that's pretty relevant as well, but people want 10. So point number 1, and the point of this is to show you a little bit more what we're talking about trying to be holistic in planning for people. People, will come to us. The primary thing that we do is financial planning for people, but people don't want any more of the top 10 hot stock picks of the day that Merrill Lynch might have provided on 800, the phone number, 10, 15 years ago. They want holistic planning. So all that we do focuses on, we call the wealth health 3-bucket tax-efficient retirement system. So for those of you who don't know, we have, right now, we have 7 different marginal tax rates. So as a joint couple from 0 to 18,550, 10% in tax. 18 to 75, 15, 75 to 153, 25%, and so on and so forth. Well, if you can build up pre-tax money, like traditional IRAs or pre-tax 401ks, non-retirement, non-qualified money, and then Roth IRA money, 3 different buckets. When you get into retirement, you can pick and choose how much you take from each bucket to keep yourself from going above the next bracket. And by doing so, you could save a person 10% in their pocket. We charge nothing more for that, but that is a way that we're showing value, showing we care to help people out. Point number 2, have a debt reduction plan, right? So part of having wealth is not income. And people are very confused by that. Wealth is many years of saving the income. So having a debt reduction plan is vital. Vital because, I always say if you love your house, then pay for it. People always want to say, look at my fancy house, look at my fancy car, look at this, look at that. They don't own any of it. The bank owns it, And, thank God for banks and allowing us to do what we do. But the point is, though, is that you should have a debt reduction plan, just like you have an asset growth plan. Point number 3, automate your way to wealth. The people who have wealth, the people I come across, it's not the people who have the highest incomes. I have many clients who make, 4, 5, 6, 7, 800,000 a year in income per year. Those aren't my wealthiest clients. The wealthiest clients are the ones who make a steady, solid income, who automate their contributions. Why is it that the 2 biggest assets that people have in retirement are the equity in their home and their retirement accounts? It's because when you started at work, you set up an automated contribution program, and the market fluctuates, it always has, always will, and you bought through that volatility. And all of a sudden you built up a lot of wealth. You kind of tricked yourself into building wealth. You have your mortgage, right? You pay your mortgage every month because you don't want to live on the street. So next thing you know, 10, 20, 30 years later, it's paid for and you have that asset. So automating your contributions is a way in which you can trick yourself into building wealth. Take advantage of the Roth option. People will say, well, Clint, I saved 15% this past year. Well, was it 15% or was it you and the government combined save 15%? If you're putting money into a pre-tax account, that's partially yours and partially the government's, and they're going to take what they want later. And I say what they want because no one knows what tax laws are going to be until down the road. With the Roth account, you already pay tax on it, and then it goes in. So then not only is that your money, all of the growth is also your money. Keeps you honest. The other points, the primary focal point of this event really is on how to be a business leader, how to grow and build your business, how you should operate in a business. So if anybody has any questions anytime, we can always go through these in more detail. But overall, the point of this is that from a core belief system, of the top 10 core planning beliefs, 8 of the 10 aren't mid-cap, small-cap, large-cap stock selection investments. 8 of the 10 are about life planning. It's that value add. It's the, what can I do to make your life better? So giving a marriage preparation class down at the Old Stone Church, from when my wife and I got married, I would always come up and say, look at the person next to you. You're getting married because you love this person. And sometimes people would look the wrong direction. I'm like, no, the one you're engaged to, that one. But interesting if they actually made it today. It was actually a sign. Don't do it, you're not going to make it, or you will, or whatever. But you're getting married because you love this person. You want to spend the rest of your life together. So if you made $5,000 more in income, is that going to make you happier? How about $10,000 or $20,000? Does that buying that fancier car make you happier, right? And the answer is no. My brother Doug, who is part of my team here at the office, he watched this comedy show one time, and he always brings this up. And the comedian said, people say money doesn't buy happiness. You ever see an angry guy in a jet ski? And those aren't free. So we laugh about that a lot, but money does fun things, but it doesn't really buy happiness. Happiness is inside, and you provide happiness together. So by living beneath your means, by automating your contributions, by instilling these principles into people's lives for planning, you make a real impact. You make a real difference. And then as you saw in the video before, my life calling, what I love doing is I try to make people's lives better. We have the tough conversations, So probably, if we have a 2-hour planning meeting, a good chunk of that's on what we're going to invest in, what we like, why we like it, and so on, which is very important. But another big chunk is also geared toward life planning principles. Because if you can make their life better, then you provided them happiness. And that's really our focal point. So, with that, that's what we do and how we do it from a planning perspective. Point number 7, people don't care what you do, they care why you do it. Right? They care why you do it. So, the why is the most important thing, to people. They want to know, what is your belief system? Why do you do what you do? Why do you believe in what you believe in? So there's a book, The Energy Bus. For anybody who wants a copy, I brought a couple copies of this book up here for you as well. But page 7 in the book, everything happens for a reason. Don't forget that. Every person we meet, every event in our life, every flat tire happens for a reason. You can choose to see the curse or the gift. And this one choice will determine whether your life is a success story or one big soap opera, right? Interesting, right? So, with that, for us, we love playing a role in people's lives. We love helping people to plan. We love trying to make their lives better. And that's what we try to do. That's our calling. That's what we love. And that's why I think we've had the growth we've had in business, because we focus on those things. So just as a kind of a tying up reiteration of the points, point number 1, customer service is key. Number 1. Number 2, as the entrepreneur, you must be the visionary of the company, setting the tone and the pace. Point number 3, hire in and fill in the gaps where you have weaknesses and make those strengths. Point number 4, spend time on the right activities. It's about effectiveness, not efficiency. Point 5, don't overreact. Mention no drama mamas. Point 6, provide apples instead of oranges. And then point 7, finally, people don't care what you do. They care about why it is that you do it. So thank you for your time, and appreciate that. Any questions for me?
You mentioned, just about the effectiveness in the running your business, but what were some challenges that you faced in not starting one business, but a couple of them?
I think that the key to life is, and a great question, thank you. If you surround yourself around quality people, you'll have a better quality life. And so for me, the most difficult challenge we had was bringing in the right people, bringing in the core people and building out the team. Probably the hardest thing in the world, I think for small business owners out there who's with me, is hiring the right people and investing in. It's easy to invest in the people, but it's hard to know if you've hired the right people. It's a very difficult task. So I was very fortunate. I'm a big family guy. I love my family. So my brother Doug, my sister-in-law Jessica, are part of the team. So I love having them there. Karen was a greeter at our church. So it's great there. Rachel was our go-to babysitter. So I stole her from my wife on the home front. And with 4 kids, 7.5, 5.5, 4, and 1, I get it sometimes because of that. But Rachel has an amazing personality, works really hard, always showed up early and stayed late, and glad to be there. She's been a great asset. A lot of hopes for her for growing into the future. And on and on with the rest of the team. But the point is, though, is that we've had a great success in hiring in great people who we're trying to build and grow for the future. But you always have areas in which you're trying to hire people where you don't know if it was the right fit sometimes. We've had a little bit of that going on in the past, but we've been very fortunate overall. But that was probably the biggest challenge is, who do you hire? When do you hire them? From a firm belief standpoint, I'm a firm believer in hiring before you need it. Hire before you need it, because when you realize you need that help, it might be too late. Remember what I said before, customer service is number 1. Nobody's perfect, but customer service is number 1. So, we've got a staff of 7 people to help serve. Where the typical person, perhaps in the financial world, has a shared part-time or maybe a full-time assistant. That's a lot of people serving one base. So, which actually, today is a great example. It allows me to be here talking today while the team is making sure that everybody's taken care of before I get back to the office. Good question. And you get a book. All right. Winner. Any more questions? Don't be shy.
I kept nodding because I work at Northwest Bank. I've been in the banking industry for 23 years, and number one is customer service. It's showing that you care, having that patience with that customer. You have different categories of customers that come in. They're the dictators, they want this, or the ones that need a little bit more nurturing. And I mean, following these steps 100%, I mean, your company is going to be on the top. Northwest Bank, we follow these steps, and we have been number one in the list of J.D. Power and Associate awards for many, many years, and it's because we're trained this way. We live this way, not only in our everyday jobs, but at home too. Well, I try to. A little bit more patience with my husband. So.
Motivational speaker, I like it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do I get a book?
We're out of books. You deserve the book with those comments, and I'm sorry. Yeah. Call me, I'll give you a book.
Does anyone else have anything? Well, thank you, Clint. We appreciate your time today.
Thank you.